Ay.
Upo na, Ria. Grupo mo. Ready na. Video. Tingnan lang.
Mag-hi?
All rise. Department of Court Justice Superior Court is now in session. Judge Honorable John A.C. Martin presiding. Please all rise. The court is now in session. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Calling the case of the people of the Republic of the Philippines versus our defendants, Mr. Police Corporal Alvin Pastori. Are both sides ready? Let's have the prosecutor. Are the prosecutors ready?
Ready for the people, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Recognize in your seats. Are the defense ready? Are the defense ready? Ready for the people, Your Honor. Of course, ready for the defense, Your Honor. Allow me to state the case. A personnel of the Pampanga Provincial Police faces a homicide case for killing a 19-year-old quarantine violator, according to the Philippine National Police. In a statement, the PNP said a homicide case was filed against Police Corporal Alvin Pastori for shooting the victim, Abelardo Vasquez, on November 20. Pastori is an intelligence officer of the Pampanga Police. So without further ado, let's start the privileged speech and the first argument of the prosecutor. Prosecutor, your first argument is?
Based on the police report of Philippine National Police, the victim and his family threw rocks at the cop's vehicle, and cop was pinned on the ground by the victim. And then the cop took his gun and shot the victim. The level of approach was clearly not on the same level of the approach of the victim. It's clear the victim, and it is clearly stated that the victim doesn't have any firearms with him. Therefore, there is no reason for the cop to use the gun in a certain situation.
Is that all your first argument?
Well,
I'm asking, is that all?
yes, for the first one.
Thank you very much. No? Now, let's have the first argument of the defendants. Your privileged speech and your first argument, defendants.
Representing the defendant of this case,
Louder.
Alvin Pastor has been wrongfully charged with homicide of the 19-year-old Abelardo Vasquez. This is a case of self-defense brought under Article 11, Number 1 of the Revised Penal Code, which states that anyone who acts in defense of this person or rights, provided the following circumstances concur. First, unlawful aggression. Second, reasonable necessity of the means employed to prevent or punish. Third, lack of sufficient provocation on the part of the person defending himself. On November 20, 2021, a grand Mr. Alvin Pastori, a 32-year-old criminal officer, who thus scored the account of the 19-year-old Mr. Abelardo and his companion to the violation quarantine regulation. However, of the case began. Mr. Abelardo Vasquez then called for the charges who were to be taken at the time for lockout. He and his companions threw rocks at the police vehicle and assaulted Mr. Alvin Vasquez, who then used them as a defense towards his attack. That is all.
Now, once the argument or are already safe, let's now do the backing or the debunks of the prosecutor. Prosecutor, where the wrong things. How will you debunk your statement? You can object if there's something for you to think that there's something wrong with your argument. How will you debunk their statement?
So, as the defendant says that it is self-defense, the stated in the United Nations Human Rights is that basic principles of the use of force and firearms, law enforcement officials that Article 3 Code of Conduct, that the official may only use the firearms strictly necessary.
Basically, the defendant mentioned that the firing of gun was all brought up by the idea of self-defense because there's an aggression. Am I right, defendants? But according to their cited article of the Commission of Human Rights, UN, CSR, no? They mentioned that there should be a legal basis for every possession and every usage of firearms. How will you defend this? Paano ba natin nasabi na na-dependent na self-defense yun?
There are factors taken into consideration before you claim that an act is illegal. First, the severity of the threat. Second, capabilities of the attacker. Third, circumstances surrounding the altercation. We all know that the relatives were drunk at that time. Therefore, the circumstances surrounding the altercation is present. And also the capabilities of the attacker since our client is pinned down.
So they mentioned that their defense, no, for their defendants is impined down or was impined down. So yung pinabagsak, dinaganan siya ni Mr. Vasquez. How will you defend that?
Can I ask a question, Your Honor?
You may.
Ms. Santos, how come a police officer with a 4 years, how come a police officer that has 4 years or more training and has license and didn't know how to defend himself, how to defend himself or fight back without even using his gun? The mere fact that the situation is not crucial and can handle by a professional cop.
Objection sustained. Answer the question.
Our client was in panic. As I said, and as the statement said, there were backups. At least more than 5 of them were present at that time. So, this state of panic is
So if it's state of panic, basically, kaya niya nagawa yun. The state of panic because the defendants mentioned that there are backup people. Bukod sa kanya, tumawag siya ng backup. Oh. And that's one of the liaison of having self-defense using gun, according to their mentioned different considerations, right?
So, they stated that their client was in panic. That's why they did that.
Be forced to use gun. His gun.
Yes, it's already stated in the paper that the police is trained and may training yung police and meron silang sinusunod na protocol kung kailan lang dapat sila gagamit ng armas sa isang situation. Alam naman natin na yung situation ngayon is si Mr. Vasquez ay wala namang kahit ano gumamit ng taas ang violation ng Dalawang.
Sapat na ba? Is that a reason for the use of gun of the police? Recognized.
Ano po, in viable homicide, attending po yung police. Napiling namin po siya and yung concept rin mabato na po. Hindi po. Kaya po yun na lang yung marin kahit po yun.
Yes.
Keep it better and bigger and I suppose the policy for people is that
The defendant mentioning that there's already a threat. No? Pinagbabato yung sasakyan nila Mr. Pastorin. So basically, that's again a rule for a self-defense. Prosecutors,
Yes, we can say na binato talaga yung victim, yung cops critical. Is that what I stated in argument number 1. But, there is a Republic Act that approved by the Congress states that there is only, meron lang mga penalties na pwede natin ipataw sa victim, sa cop, right? So sabihin na natin, yes, binato nila yung cops critical. Tama ba? Binataw. Pero meron lang tong mga kaakibat na pwede natin isampang kaso sa gumawa ng bagay ngayon. Right? It is the Republic of 7163 approved by the Congress. When an individual commit this kind of transgression, there are certain penalties that you could only give to them. Based on the House Bill, where actually, Your Honor, this is already a Republic Act and not House Bill.
Yes.
It is
so
already
it means
approved.
already approved.
Yes, it is already a law. Wherein there are only penalties such as 25 years of imprisonment with fines and 5 years of imprisonment with fines and 1 year imprisonment with fines, depends on how crucial the situation was. So I don't think so that the cop can already use the firearms with that kind of situation, isn't it? Thank you.
So it means, sinasabi ng inyong prosecutor, maraming pwedeng paraan at kaso na i-file dun sa inyong defendant.
Your Honor, he is
Recognize na naman.
One. Kaya na siya. Yung Your Honor, kailangan ko. One po. Pindol din po yung police. So, unfireable homicide yung video. And yung pindol po yung police at binabato po yung mod niya, which is na-threaten po siya. So, ano po yung pinapalabas niya? Na kwanta. Na dapat hindi na yan yung police dahil hindi dapat hindi dapat binato hindi namin binarin dahil binato. Hindi lang po ba? Nakapindol din po ito.
Kumbaga, nakahiga siya, dinadala siya ni Mr.
Kasi
Vasquez.
binabato po siya.
Kumbaga, she is under the influence also of homicide, attempted homicide. That was the mentioned case of the defendant, and which is true. That's a liable cause for attempted homicide kasi nakabagsak din siya. Tapos, bukod doon, may nakapaligid ng mga tao. Kaya kasi tumawag ng backup. So, isn't it the life of the police was at stake during that time?
And according to Restisio and Cono from the Philippines, self-defense is not punishable by law when it meets the legal condition of unlawful aggression. An unlawful aggression is when there must be an attack or threat that endangers one's life or personal safety.
Okay, so basically they established already that what Mr. Pastorin did was just a self-defense because he is a threat during the time he was threatened. Will you defend and debunk their statement being at stake as a self-defense?
So, ano yung ask something to Mr. Yung ginawa ba ng client law is yung Mr. Vasquez na in-town officer, binato ng mga kamag-anak na sapat na ba yun? Or pumapantay na ba yun sa level ng threat
reliable cause for the police to use his gun.
Hindi. Hindi, sir.
Recognize.
Recognize. Huwag mo ibulong yung masabi.
Recognize.
The police would have threatened, but it says police is the word of
Okay lang sir. Please repeat your statement.
The police was not the one that threatened the victims. Instead, it was him that was threatened by the victims and his relatives. That's all.
Siya yung natakot, yung baga, na-threaten si police at hindi si police yung nakapanakot. Okay, but the point here is, hindi ba yung paglabas niya ng baril ay nag-cause na ng threat?
Because he is being threatened po.
Kasi is the one first threatened. That's what I want to know. He is the one first threatened before the people.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's what they are mentioning. The police was the first threatened. How is defend that? Based on the case report, kaya yung sagutin ng dito yan. Prosecutor. Was the police who was first threatened according to the defendant?
Your Honor.
Recognize.
Paano po unang natawag yung police na po yung unang nagsita sa mga lalaki na nagtawag?
May object, Your Honor. Kaya po sinita ng pulis dahil lasing at hindi po kaayayan ginagawa ng mga kwan.
Stay.
Kwan naman po! Hindi!
Order in the court. Let's have the defendant.
Walang mas. Walang mas. Walang pong mas and walang topless. Tapos po, sinita po ng pulis. Therefore, nagalit yung kwan. Pinagsabihan ng pulis. Oh, tapos pin daw yung pulis. Oh. So, tama pa rin yung pulis doon.
But I have a question. Sige, recognize.
Kaya nga po na sinasabi namin niya, sinabi niyo kanina nga kayo yung una na natakot. Eh,
Hindi po namin pinakot.
kayo yung natakot niya.
Sinita namin.
O, sinita.
Sinita. Oh, okay ba tinakot? Sinita.
Okay. The defendant mentioned that when the police, no, kumbaga, we call that, sinita nga, no, tama yung word, sinita. Yung si Abelardo, si Mr. Abelardo, sinita niya. And then, nung sinita niya, pinin down siya. Is that what you are talking with? Magkaiba kayo. Ang sagot, Atty. Ria. Ria, recognize.
Sinita po ng police si Abelardo and yung mga kapitana niya. And then, after ito masita, umalis na po yung police. Pero, nag-call po si Abelardo ng backup at ginagahan nila ng mga bato, yung kotse ng police, and then binindaw ng police. And then,
So again, the defendant mentioned that the police, no, sinita lang talaga after nun umalis na. Pero pinagbabato yung sasakyan at tumawag ng backup. That was you are mentioning, right? Prosecutors.
I think there's something missing with your story. Yes. So, you stated that sinita yung police, yung victim, right? And then after that, umalis yung police, tsaka pinagbabato yung victim, right? So, based on the witness that I have with the victim's father, he stated that
Is he Carl?
no,
Because there are two cousins. Carl is the one.
it's not.
The other one.
Yeah, hindi ko. He stated that sinita sila nung cop dahil wala silang face mask. Kasi sabi na may nilalabag silang quarantine protocols, right? Pero kasi may namagitan between the cop and the victim. So, lumabas yung uncle nung victim. Yes, lumapit po yung uncle nung victim. And then, he asked, and nagtanong siya, tinanong niya, in-assess, or tinanong niya po yung police on what's happening between the two. And, nung pinauwi po kasi ng cops yung mga bata, or the teenagers together with the victim, sumunod po kasi sila, and then, kaya pumunta yung uncle. And then, sabi po, and then, yung cop is, nakita nung victim, kasama nung mga kasama niya, is, tinulak nila yung uncle nung victim. That's why they rushed to cops, and then akala nila there's something happening with their uncle, and that's also a threat. The mere fact that the police is a licensed and also had a gun, right? So hindi natin alam. I mean, hindi alam ng mga bata na yun kung ano yung nangyayari between the two. That's why they also panicked and rushed there, right? That's all you're.
Thank you very much. Defendant, before we raise the second argument, kumbaga na magkita muna si Uncle to kasi based on the story of their source, totoo, may pinsan doon. Ayan, according to the PNP, a witness said that the victim allegedly called his relatives. Relatives, kamag-anak, which is yung uncle. Dad.
Miss Bonifacio.
The what?
May I ask why the police, Mr. Buster, pushed the what?
Bakit daw tinulak ni Mr. Carlos to rin si Uncle? Objection sustained. Answer the question.
Just like Alex Sarawan, na nung sinita ng cops, yung mga teenagers together with the umalis sila. And then naiwan doon yung uncle nila. And then yung statement na meron yung witness ko is, syempre, wala siya dun sa pinaka-pangyayari, right? Wala siya sa pinaka-between nung cop and the uncle dahil umalis sila. But the victim saw how the cop pushed his uncle. That's why they rushed. Yun po yung Philippine uncle.
But why? Why did you push the uncle?
Ama,
Why?
dapat ba ata ako yung magtanong why the cop pushed the uncle?
Yes,
Kasi,
what did the uncle say to the cop that made the cop so angry that he pushed him?
okay,
Baka may ginawa naman daw sa Uncle.
based on the statement of my witness, nag-uusap lang sila on what happened, bakit sinisita yung mga bata. Walang nangyaring kahit anong mahanwagan or something.
What did the uncle?
Stand up, the defendants.
So what if the uncle said something offensive to someone to the point where it resulted in that altercation? But let's say that what if the uncle said something offensive to the cop to the point where they ended in that altercation? Or what if that simple push was just an accident?
Yes, you can say na, what if na simple push lang naman yun, pero bakit hindi niya ginawa? First, sabi niya kanina, on the first argument na, may threat, right? So, I can say na may threat na nangyari dun sa situation na yun. Na yung, na-threat yung, the cop, tinulak ng cop yung uncle. So, but if merong threat na nangyari na, nakikipag-usap lang naman yung uncle sa cop, and then, tinulak siya ng cop. I mean,
That's a good point, no? For instance, sige, sagutin natin yung commotion kanina about threats. Paano kung wala, sige, walang threats sa pagsita ng police. Pero paano kung kinausap yung uncle ng police sa pagtulak? Because you both admit na tinulak si uncle. Paano kung doon sa pagtulak pala, doon nagkaroon ng threat? Kaya pinagtulungan na yun si police. How will you defend the defendant?
girl.
Recognize.
Sabi niyo po kanina na yung victim, yung cop yung unang na-threat, right? Because pinagbababato ng mga kasama nung mga teenagers together with the victim. Pero parang sinabi ko rin na kaya nag-start yun dahil yung cop yung unang nag-threat. The cop pushed the uncle of the victim. So how can you say that yung threat ng level na yun same? So it means that the cop started the threat.
Your Honor, I have
Recognize your objection.
If I may, I'd like to ask some question. Thank you.
What will be your question?
First of all, why did the cop push the other? Why?
Objection overruled. That was already mentioned a while ago.
But, the story, nasa utak ko na yun. The story that she did it all is unclear. Because she's only saying that the police pushed the akin. Right? So, the story is unclear. Because of the police just pushed the akin.
But the prosecutors mentioned that that could be a reason to raise the tension.
How come they so sure? How come they so sure? How come they so sure that it was a one?
Prosecutors, sustain, answer.
So how come you're so sure na yung pag-pin ng bata dun sa cop was already a threat? If sinasabi mo sa
It's
akin,
already being now. Threat na yun.
oh, so I'm telling you na threat na rin yung pagtulak ng cop sa uncle. Isn't it?
Salita. Ngayon nagkausap.
Hmm?
What if accident? Said by Miss Cassandra.
Can you make it clear what kind of accident?
What way?
In what way?
Again, like what I stated earlier, what if that said push was just a simple accident?
Okay, what if it's just a simple accident that they push the cop? Pero I'm saying na paano ka-threat yun? Kasi sinasabi niyo rin kanina na threat na yung ginawa ng 19-year-old dun sa cop. So you're saying na, ay, same lang pa ng threat. So, same lang ng threat ng level yun. So it
There's
is,
a lot of witness when the cop got pinned down. The witness. And he told back up.
it's kind of,
There's the defendant mentioned that there are people who witness in fact in which the cops being pinned down. Ibig sabihin nung pinabagsak yung cop, nandun yung mga back up, right? No? So may witness na. So now, pero babalik yung tanong, hindi ba na may witness din nung tinulak na yung uncle?
Sino?
I already told you a while ago who was the witness. It was the cousin of the victim. We're just going over and over again.
Ria, very next.
Pero what if, bakit tinulak ng police yung uncle? Kasi umaamba na yung uncle. Parang ina-assault niya na yung police kaya na tinulak.
I already stated a while ago na nag-uusap lang po yung uncle and then yung cop. That's why there is no nangyari na
Just making clarification of what really the cause of pointing out their faults.
Sabi po kasi nila, what if daw po is may ginawang assault yung uncle dun sa cop. That's why the cop pushed the uncle. But I'm saying, kanina po, sinabi ko na namagitan yung cop, namagitan yung uncle dun sa teenagers. Teenagers po kasi sila and between the cop. So, namagitan yung uncle, which is kinausap yung cop, but no one, there is no, yung mga teenagers po kasi is pauwi sila. So, medyo pauwi sila dahil sinunod po nila yung sinasabi doon. Cop, pero kinausap po kasi ng uncle. And then, nung nakita, nung victim, na tinulak yung
Continue.
na tinulak nung cop yung uncle is already a threat sa kanya
Yeah.
sa victim. That's why they rushed. Now, hindi sila nag-rush just because they just wanted to fight back the cop. They rushed back to the cop dahil gusto nilang protektahan yung uncle nila on what kind of threat na meron na dun sa situation na yun. Sorry.
Okay, sige, okay. Let's pause for a while, no? Let's have the race of the second argument. Let's have the race of the second argument. Second argument, prosecutors. The second argument you want to raise. Again, may I encourage everyone, every authorities to speak up.
Excuse me.
Kasi pwede ganun
Yes,
na
ano?
wala sa kabila kami sa iwan ko ng regular
Hindi nito dapat kami lang po kung nangyayari sa agency.
Again, what's your point?
Pagkalabas mo kasi narinig ko kasi kung okay lang po dun sa likod pa.
Okay. So, objection overruled, but that's not allowed, okay? If that happens, if that is not happening, it's up to you, but objection overruled. Remain as that. Let's have the race of the second argument.
Your Honor, our second argument is police corporal Alvin Badri was actually drunk while on duty, which could highly affect his intellectual possibilities to be
Lasing loud, drunk.
why he shoots the victim without thinking twice.
Si Pastorin ay nakainom. No, they are mentioning nalasing si Pastorin. Now, defendant, your second argument first. Before the debunk, your second argument. Again, may I encourage everyone, every parties to please speak, no? Second argument.
It clearly states here that the victim's relatives, whom they called for backup, was said to be drinking. They are not in their right minds, therefore most of their acts might be on impulse. The suspect was then in first and no choice but to shoot.
You're mentioning that the victim, Mr. Abelardo, or the top,
The relatives of the victim.
relative of Abelardo was in drunk mode, lasing din. So sa inyo, you're pointing out that ang lasing, yung kumausap kay police. Another point. Yes.
When was it stated that the police was
We're not yet in the interpolation, so I'm asking for argument first. Argument. Are you all done with your first argument, with your second argument? Okay, let's have the debunking regarding the issue of drunk or being drunk. The prosecutor mentioned that the one that's being drunk was the police, no? And the defendants mentioned that the one being was drunk was the uncle of the defendant. So, sino talaga? Let's see. How will you debunk their statement? Let's have the prosecutors. Can you state your second argument, please?
states here to be a fair court. The victim's relatives, whom they called for backup, was said to be drinking. The report. They're not.
Yung tinawag na backup ay lasing. And that could be a reason for another threat. Prosecutor, how will you answer that?
Sabi ko nila na yung tinawag na baka was nakainom.
Yeah.
But, sabi ko, based on the witness, so the first argument, sinabi ko kasi doon na nung sinita ng cop, yung teenager, which is yung pinatawag na baka, kasama ko yung victim, is, sinabi ko noon na sumunod po kasi sila, kasi sinabi ng cop na pumunod sila, and namagitan na po kasi yung uncle doon. So, naiwan ko yung uncle doon, and then, yung mga bata is, and
basically, paalis na yung mga bata.
Yes.
Tapos nakita nila tumulang mga L, kaya sila bumalik para i-meet the police. Is that what you're mentioning?
Yes.
Defendant.
According to the PNP report, walang sinabi na umalis na yung mga bata.
Was the situation is not controversial? Yes, totoo. Hindi mo pwedeng kasuhan yung isang tao na ginagawa pa rin niya yung bagay na yun na within that time. No one can do that. But I'm asking you na the mere fact that the police was trained siya, may lisensya, and how could that police can even fight back or fight back without using firearms? And Police Corporal Alvin Pastorin infringed the grave misconduct that contains a transgression of some established rule misusage weapon by shooting a 9-year-old boy. 19-year-old boy.
By shooting, I have a question. How many shots fired?
4.
Four.
Wait lang. Your Honor. Wait, three na siya.
Four shots po yun kasi isang warning shot tsaka nagpahabol pa po ng tatlong butok.
Also, meron din po tayong rules when it comes to warning shots. Kung sinasabi nyo na yung threat na yun, is it applicable na mag-warning shot kung naka-pin down lang naman yung cop by a 19-year-old boy?
Unfireable police.
Yung attempted homicide.
Unfireable siya. Oh, nakapin. Threaten, binabato siya. Ngayon, naglabas siya ng barela, nagpaputok. Ba't niya kayo magpawil yun?
Can you state, Mr. Bizar?
Unfireable homicide. Ang nangyari po, nakapin lang yung police. Ngayon po, bumulot siya ng barel dahil po nag-threaten na po siya. Ngayon, pinagpapapatok po yung kotse niya. Tama ba?
Here's the point. That's true. What you're mentioning is also belongs to that unfireable homicide. But, ano ang ginawa ng mga nakapaligid sa kanya o yung nakapit lang siya ng nagpapatok siya ng first warning shot?
Nakapin lang po siya by the That's why T. Why? Because I tried siya.
Oh, so ano kayo naging reaction ng sa kanya na nakapaligid sa kanya? You want to raise something, prosecutor, right?
At saka i-thank you, Your Honor. But, naka-police car po sila din. Kaya naman po sila dapat magkita lang yung police at naka-police car dapat may kasama. So, anong ginawa ng mga kasama niya?
Tumawag siya ng baka.
Naka-police car nga, hindi naman pwede pag isa lang yun.
Recognize. Recognize.
Sabi niyo po kanina, the cop was pinned down by a 19-year-old boy. Was the victim. Am I right? Am I right? He was pinned down. The cop was pinned down by the victim. And then, their first, parang conflict naman po sa first statement nila kanina. Sabi po nila, I asked them po a while ago na yung pinipin down ng 19-year-old boy, yung cop, and hindi po nila sinabi na lahat ng nakapaligid or lahat ng backup doon is nakapaligid. So kanina, sorry, meron mo kami notes. Sinabi niyo kanina, tinanong ko kayo, ilang beses ko rin po kayong tinanong, na yung 19-year-old boy lang ang nakapin down doon sa cup. And now you're saying na buong backup is nakapin down sa cup. What is it? Ano po ba talaga doon sa statement niya?
The first statement was accorded to the PNP report. And yung isa po, according to the witness na kapitbahay.
So what should be the basis for that?
Sir, can we, Your Honor, can you state the 19-year-old was pinned down by the cup? Can you give it to Stephen?
Sustain. Sustain.
According to the PNP, the report added that the cop was allegedly attacked and pinned on the ground. The cop allegedly took his gun, shot the victim, was putting something.
The 19-year-old was putting weight on the cup. Yes. Only the 19-year-old boy was putting the weight on the cup and not the whole backup. Am I right?
Character.
Already coming from his mouth. It's already coming from his mouth. So why are you telling me? So why are you telling me a while ago na
Continue. Sustain.
Again, I ask you.
Okay, here's the case. The defendant mentioned for their first statement that the one who pinned down the police was the victim. It was Abelardo Vasquez. But today, at this point, they are mentioning that the one who pinned down the police is not just Abelardo. It is also the backup. Now, may pinabasa si prosecutor. At binasa ni prosecutor, ganito, ay ni defendant, and shot the victim who was putting some weight on him. Ang sinat, victim, not victims. How will you defend that? How will you defend that? We're now looking on the interpolation. You can ask questions to your opposing panels. How will you defend that debunking statement of your opponents?
A while ago, sinabi niyo rin po na yung kanina na yung pagbaril nung na nakapin down po yung cup, right? So sinabi niyo kasi yung namin based on the witness na the cup was drunk. Isn't it that kung ang cup ay nakainom while on duty, which is already a violation, basically, kasi pag nakainom tayo, di ba? Sometimes we're out of our minds. So, basically, the mere fact na yung police is drunk, nakainom siya, so meron talaga siyang he is capable of doing that kind of shooting.
They are mentioning that the ones who was drunk was the family member.
But based on the statement of the victim po, the cop was also drunk while on duty.
The cop is also
Yes,
drunk.
the
So
cop.
they are both. Are they? They are both?
The cop was drunk, but the police statement.
The
they
cop
say
was drunk.
yes.
How about the family members that they are mentioning?
The teenagers that they're mentioning that the family was
Drunk also. Was in drunk also?
only the teenagers the drunk and not the young.
Yeah. I will defend the first question of having that liability. Sino ba talaga yung tanong na kanaglan? Pwede ba makilinaw yun? Defendants? Defendants, before we end and have the initial verdict of this court. Again, may I remind everyone, I know you know how to meet in trial court, but we have a short span of time, so we have to get the initial verdict now. Again, answer the question.
Meron pong witness dito yung nagsabi na inuyog siya ng mga tao doon, kaya may nakadagan sa kanya na lalaki. Therefore, may nakadagan sa kanya na lalaki, isa lang. Pero merong mga kumuyog pa sa kanya na iba. Kung isa lang po yung nakadagan sa kanya at marami kumuyog, bakit si Vasquez lang yung nabaril niya? Kasi nga, siya nga lang po yung nakadagan.
You are going back to your first statement. Sino talaga yung nakatagal?
Si Vasquez.
Isa lang.
Yes. Kaya kung nasabi na meron ng ibang backgrounds, hindi mo nakadagan yung backgrounds. Ito po yung nilang boss. Kaya si background tayo.
And that against your second statement. That's nakatagal.
Based on the medical reports for the police, yung police po is walang virus at all.
So, how come?
Last question.
Okay. Last question. Sabi niya kanina, kinukuyog yung police. Pero ang nakadagan lang ay isa. Just contradict sa sinabi niya kanina na yung na ang lumadagan ay marami. It's already coming from me. Sabi mo yes.
Pero,
Sabi mo yes. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Can you check?
Yes.
Because, can you check? Because that's already a policy.
You're disregarding the statement that you said
Check.
earlier.
That's already a policy. You may not answer the question because you already answered.
I hope you are your decision.
For the last question,
Last question.
sabi niyo po
about
kanina,
Gales.
okay, sabi niyo po kanina, marami pumupuyod dun sa police while nakapin na siya by a 19-year-old boy. While the medical record of the police is wala siyang kalas. So how come kinuyod yung police na wala siyang kalas? That's all, Your Honor.
Answer that question. Is not yet over, so let's have the defendant. Let's have the defendant before we end this court. Actually, may punto yung unviable homicide defendant. Your answer. Before I give you my verdict. Yes, sir. For the last time. Go.
natin alam kung gano'n kalakas yung pag-witness sa police. Magbabase ka lang ba dun sa medical report? Eh, sabi nga ng witness, kinukuyog po nila yung
Your Honor. Sabi ko, mag-base ka lang ba sa medical record? Coming from you, it is a medical record. It is from an institute, medical institute, and then you're disregarding the medical record.
Sabi ko rin na malay ba natin kung gano'n kalakas yung pag-witness nila sa police. Hindi naman forget.
Okay, gaano malakas? Gaano?
Overruled. Take your seat. Okay. Allow me to state the point for the initial verdict. Again, walang kinalaman yung musga ko kung ano man yung kasa talaga. Okay?
Your Honor, is not initial, and therefore, there is a succeeding verdict in the following days.
Fully.
Therefore, the following parties could file a motion to appeal for their both case is that
To appeal for the decision.
for the verdict.
For the verdict.
Hence, I will be concluding
But I
another
will
trial.
not be liable for them because you can raise that to the higher court.
We're
Okay,
going.
my verdict. My first point. Yung pinning down. Shallow point niya yun. Kasi tinalo nila yung una nilang statement. Tapos first statement, second statement na iba, bumalik ulit sila sa first statement. That's one of their shallow point. Sunod. Yung sa drop, yung dinedefend ng police. Actually, that's the point na that's for another case kasi pwede nyo ang hindi sagutin yun eh. Kasi that's not really the case. Second point, yung pinipilit ka niya, Attorney Ria, na sagutin, is that your answer yes or no? I'm telling you that's already a fallacy, that's a force. No, that's already add back to you. You you can raise a motion, objection, my opponent's committing a fallacy, I have no right to answer that. I will give you, I will sustain that. So you don't have to answer that, but you didn't raise any objection, so I have no right to overrule what she is asking to you, no? Next, yung 4-shot, 3 shots. Actually, according sa news, 3 shots lang talaga. Butas yun. 3 shots talaga. No? At isa pa sa butas, isa pa, may butas din yung argument nila. No? Doon sa pagtalikod, yun sa tumalikod na. Kung tumalikod yun, yung nakatalikod at paalis na yun, at ang may commotion lang yung uncle tsaka si police, how come na nagkaroon ng commotion bigla doon sa teenagers? Dapat binutas yun. Okay? Sunod, ang daming policies, hindi nyo napansin. No? Sunod, isa naman sa kanila, sa pwede nyo i-point out sa kanila, no? Nabanggit kanina yung about sa threat, kung gaano kalakas, gaano kahina. But kahit gaano kalakas, gaano kahina, that could also makes the tension more higher. Pwede nyo i-mention kanina yun. Kayo, hindi nyo binanggit. Okay? Kasi binanggit kanina, di ba natin kung gaano kahina, gaano kalakas. But that's already a threat. We are dealing about threats. And binanggit na rin nila kanina, plus points nila yun eh. Actually, plus points yun na binanggit nila, what are the reasons for threat? Paano natin masabi na this belongs to self-defense? Nagbanggit sila doon, pasok na pasok yung kay Pastor doon. However, now, let's have the verdict.
Gulong kita, ito,
Gulong! Gulong! 5. Police Corporal Alvin Pastorin. Is he acquitted or guilty? Once again, this court files Police Corporal Alvin Pastorin. Okay, nakaman eh, no? Pwede manisin.
Announcing your honor!
This court finds Police Corporal Alvin Pastorin guilty via order in the court. Once again, order in the court. Now, once Mr. Pastorin is already guilty beyond reasonable doubt, siya ay mapaparusahan ng reclusion ng 30 taong pagkakakulong nang walang bail. Now, you have the reconciliation. Alam ko, medyo may
Honor is
debate.
so very bigat!
Better console talaga.